Hackers exploit SAP NetWeaver CVE 2025-31324 to deploy auto-color Linux malware. Imagine discovering a digital siege on a major U.S. chemicals company, where hackers ingeniously paired SAP NetWeaver exploitation with the elusive auto-color malware, showcasing a chilling evolution in cyber threats targeting Linux systems. In April 2025, the cybersecurity experts at Darktrace successfully thwarted an intricate attack that harnessed CVE 2025-31324, a severe vulnerability in SAP NetWeaver. To stealthily deploy the auto-color backdoor malware over a 3-day period. Key insights. The CVE 2025-31324 exploit in SAP NetWeaver was the gateway for auto-color malware. 2. Auto-color employs sophisticated Linux manipulation and adaptive evasion tactics. 3. Darktrace's intervention blocked malware activation and command and control C2 communication. The saga began with the exploitation of CVE 2025-31324, a critical flaw disclosed by SAP SE on April 24, 2025, affecting SAP NetWeaver application servers. This vulnerability allows attackers to upload malicious files, potentially leading to remote code execution and complete system takeover. On April 25th, the threat actors initiated Reconnaissance, scanning for the vulnerability using URIs with /developmentserver/metadatauploader before launching their full-scale assault 2 days later. The initial breach involved downloading a zip file from a malicious IP address, 91.193.109, accompanied by DNS tunneling requests to out-of-band application security testing (OAST) domains, such as the .so.UGFD458P4TNQ4RAK OAST.me. Subsequently, the attackers executed a shell script named config.sh via the helper.jsp file, establishing connections to a C2 infrastructure at 47.97.42.177 over port 3232, an endpoint linked to Supershell, a command and control platform associated with China-affiliated threat groups. Decoding auto-color's persistence. The auto-color backdoor malware, named for its ability to rename itself to var/log/autocolor post-execution, is a sophisticated remote access Trojan, RAT, that has primarily targeted universities and government institutions since November 2024. This malware exhibits adaptive behavior based on privilege levels. Without root privileges, it operates with limited functionality to evade detection in restricted environments. However, with root access, it initiates invasive installation procedures, deploying a malicious shared object libcx.so2 Waidraongjeng Hava the Sigungjuku. Autocolor ensures persistence through ld.so.preload manipulation, modifying etc ld.so.preload to reference the malicious library. This technique guarantees that the malware loads before other libraries when executing dynamically linked programs, allowing it to hook and override standard system functions across applications. Darktrace's managed detection and response service played a pivotal role, extending autonomous response actions for an additional 24 hours, giving the customer security team invaluable time to investigate and neutralize the threat. This incident highlights the critical urgency for organizations using SAP NetWeaver to promptly apply security patches, as threat actors persistently exploit this vulnerability across various systems. But here's where it gets controversial. Are organizations doing enough to protect their systems, or are they merely reacting to threats as they arise? What measures should be in place to prevent such breaches? We invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Do you agree with the current cybersecurity strategies? Or do you think there's a better way to safeguard against these evolving threats? Autocolor Rat targets SAP NetWeaver bug in advanced Cyberattack. A striking new cyber threat has emerged, targeting a critical vulnerability in SAP NetWeaver with a sophisticated Linux-based remote access Trojan, RAT, known as AutoColor. This attack vector is particularly alarming, considering it exploits a freshly patched maximum severity flaw, raising urgent questions about how quickly organizations can respond to rapidly evolving cyber risks. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite the patch being available, threat actors rapidly took advantage to launch an advanced persistent threat, pushing security teams to their limits. According to a recent report by Darktrace, a leading cybersecurity firm, the defect in question was exploited in an attempt to install a stealthy backdoor malware on an SAP NetWeaver server belonging to a US-based chemical company. This occurred in April 2025 and was quickly detected and contained by Darktrace's autonomous response technology, which isolated the malicious activity before it could spread further. Darktrace's blog post details how their threat research team delved deeper into the incident after blocking the attack. Their investigation revealed that the attackers had taken advantage of vulnerability CVE-2025-31324 to deploy AutoColor as part of a complex, multi-stage intrusion. Notably, this represents the first observed case where the critical SAP NetWeaver flaw was directly paired with the AutoColor RAT. Previously, this vulnerability had mainly been linked to zero-day exploits installing JSP web shells on SAP systems. Frankie Sclafani, Cybersecurity Enablement Director at Deepwatch, emphasized the gravity of this discovery. He described the convergence of a severe SAP vulnerability with the elusive AutoColor backdoor as a disturbing new chapter in cyber threats targeting critical infrastructure. Sclafani urges organizations to immediately prioritize detection and enhance information sharing practices to undermine threat actors' tactics. To clarify for those new to these concepts, CVE 2025-31324 is a critical loophole in SAP's NetWeaver application server software that allows attackers to upload harmful files remotely. If exploited successfully, this flaw can lead to what's called remote code execution, RCE, essentially giving attackers complete control over the affected system. In this attack, hackers quickly leveraged this flaw, reported only a few days before, to place an executable file on a publicly facing SAP server. The malware, designed for Linux, adjusts its behavior based on the permissions it gains. When running with root administrator privileges, it installs a malicious shared library called ld.so.preload and disguises itself within system-like directories to avoid detection. If it lacks root access, it remains dormant but continues communicating securely with its command and control C2 servers using encrypted connections. AutoColor was first identified in 2024 and is known for targeting Linux environments through sophisticated methods like shared object injection and leveraging the ld.so.preload technique for persistence. What makes it particularly dangerous is that each malware sample is unique, with tailored files and encrypted command configurations, making automated detection through traditional antivirus tools very difficult. Jonathan Strauss, an SAP security specialist at Pathlock, highlighted how this incident underscores the necessity of integrating SAP security tightly with overall IT operations. He points out that the CVE 2025-31324 vulnerability is a wake-up call demanding collaboration between SAP teams, IT security professionals, and operations departments to prevent such attacks. Treating SAP systems as isolated assets only heightens risk. The RAT earned its name, AutoColor, due to its behavior of renaming its operational path to var log cross AutoColor after execution. Once established, it typically hooks into fundamental system functions, overriding them to maintain persistence and control. Fortunately, the attack was thwarted swiftly. Darktrace's analysts noticed the abnormal download of the ELF executable and linkable format payload, and observed a burst of suspicious DNS and SSL, secure socket layer activity, indicating communication with known malicious networks. Darktrace's autonomous security system acted within minutes, confining the affected device's operations strictly to normal activities, while expert analysts conducted further examination. Intriguingly, the malware included a built-in evasion tactic. It intentionally reduced activity if it couldn't reach its C2 servers, likely to avoid detection by sandbox environments used in malware analysis. The security response extended containment measures for a full 24 hours, allowing the infected company enough time to implement proper remediation. It's important to note that SAP had already released a patch for this critical CVSS 10.0 rated vulnerability in April 2025, distributed through SAP Security Note 355142, though access requires authentication. Organizations that couldn't immediately apply the update were advised to block or disable access to the vulnerable components using the procedures outlined in SAP Note 3556125. SAP did not immediately comment on these findings when approached for insights. Meanwhile, experts like Sclafani recommend urgent action plans for security teams. Prioritize applying the patch without delay, boost detection capabilities for anomalies and lateral network movement, segment networks to limit spread, adopt zero-trust security models, and invest in AI-driven autonomous defense solutions capable of rapid responses. This incident raises the provocative question: are organizations genuinely prepared to defend critical business applications like SAP against increasingly sophisticated threats? Or does the industry's compartmentalized approach to security leave dangerous gaps? What do you think? The current patch release protocols and defensive measures are enough? Or do we need a radical rethink? Share your thoughts and experience in the comments below. This is a conversation the whole security community needs to have.